What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Inside ACW. Of course, today we're talking about episode 27 of Asylum. Also, guys, I am joined by the wonderful WillowWolf. Good afternoon, Willow.
Good afternoon, Kill.
Because, guys, jump right in here. We had a promo to start off last night's show. Of course, the World Heavyweight Champion, Dante, making his way out to address the ACW universe, announcing that he's officially the longest reigning World Heavyweight Champion in Gen 2. Of course, Dante made a big mistake last night, of course, by mentioning an old favorite of ours, the Animal, Derek Braxton. Of course, Willow, this is your superstar. How do you feel about Braxton last night?
He was on form. I was so glad to see him there. And to be honest, people that genuinely call Braxton out genuinely don't fare well.
No, they do not. Exactly how Dante fared last night. Of course, both men had a bit of a back and forth. Dante thinking he was all that, but of course the Animal demanding he step into his cage. Of course, setting up a match for Hellbound. And of course, it's going to be the World Championship inside the Hell in a Cell. That is going to be a brutal match. I'll tell you right now, guys. I can't wait for that one. Willow, of course, now the match, it has been announced. What are your thoughts about Braxton and Dante inside the Cell?
I'm really looking forward to this match. Braxton inside a Hell in a Cell is literally caging the Animal. You do not cage the wolf. That's going to fare, I don't know how good for Dante, but I'm really looking forward to this match. Like, Brax has his eyes set on Dante now, and Dante put that target on himself.
Oh, he really did put the target on himself last night, claiming I am the best, I'm untouchable. Yeah, we're about to see. As you said, well, you do not cage a wolf. No. You back a wolf into a corner, that wolf's going to bite. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen at Hellbound. Of course, guys, first up, the first match of the night, it was Selena taking on Lana Gray. Willow, thoughts on the match? I know you're happy with this one.
Oh, I'm ecstatic with this. This was the Selena that I have been spouting, that I was like, you are better than what you have been performing these past few weeks. And there she was last night. She was on form. She was on fire. She was all over Lorna. Lorna was not expecting this from the previous match with Selena. And it was just so nice to see her finally confident in that ring, confident in herself.
Oh, 100%. Of course, Lana did not expect Selena to come out like that. A very, very impressive performance by Selena last night. Of course, picking up her very first ever win here in ACW. That was a nice, impressive moment. But that was just, as you said, a very different Selena last night. She's been training a lot harder, looks a lot better, and she was on fire with moves. Even I was like, oh dear God, I don't want to be near you. Like, that looked painful last night.
It did.
It looked really, really painful. So hopefully Lana Gray is okay. But this is what we need to see from Selena. We need to see a lot more of this from this young lady. And I guarantee you she will go far. Compared to her previous performances last night, I think we just hit the reset button on her last night. She's absolutely phenomenal. There's not really much more to say than that.
That match was just amazing.
Of course, guys, next up we had Abaddon taking on Shelton Rhodes. Of course, Abaddon in his very first ever singles match. Very, very impressive performance, don't you think, Willow?
I really enjoyed his performance. His first solo match, obviously he had Draven in the corner, cheering him on, but my heart went out to poor Shelton. Oh, I felt so bad for this young fella. I was like, oh, this is going to be like a squash match, but my hands go up to Shelton. You put up one hell of a fight, my dude. You did really well. You were impressive.
Oh, 100%. Shelton Rhodes really showed his experience in the ring last night. Of course, he suffered a lot of damage throughout that match, but his ring awareness was always there, always reaching for the ropes, always breaking up those devastating pinfall attempts. But eventually Abaddon kind of noticed that moment and dragging away from the ropes, hitting after that second massive tombstone pile driver, just destroying poor Shelton Rhodes, because he was busted open very late in the match as well. But Abaddon, such a dominant performance tonight, was so awesome to watch. I want to see Draven do the same thing next week. What do you think? You think Draven can do the same, or do you think Abaddon's going to be the top dog of Chaos now?
I would really love to see Draven in a singles match, just to see who is the most dominant out of the two. After that performance of Abaddon last night, Draven has his work to put in.
I want to see them both go at each other.
Oh, yes and no. Do you know, I really love them together, and I don't think I'd want to see two of them go against each other just yet.
Oh, of course, not just yet, but at some point in the future, I think it'd be an interesting match. To see these two giant men just beat the living hell out of each other. I just enjoy that,
I think it will be interesting, because most tag teams do eventually break down because one gets a bit too big for the boots and blames the other, and it's just, so it will be interesting to see, can this tag team suffer or survive together without a breakdown, or will that eventually come? So I'm looking forward to the future of these two.
Of course, more on Chaos a little bit later on. Up next, of course, it was the Women's Tag Team Championships on the line. Alexandra and Isabella, the champions, taking on the number one contenders Melina and Arcana in a tables match. Willow, thoughts on this one?
Who is going to stop Alexandra and Isabella?
That is a very good question.
Like, that match last night, it was all Melina and Arcana for most of that match, and then out of nowhere, the two of them just came back and went, nah.
Yeah, Alexandra, I believe, took Melina to the outside, beat the living hell out of her, sent her back in, almost like fed her to Isabella, and then, of course, took control of Arcana towards the end of the match. But, as you said, it was very much Melina and Arcana all night long. So impressive, those two last night. I really thought, oh, here we go, we got brand new tag team champions. And now, guys, normally, if you've ever watched a tables match in ACW, it does not go well. Last night, thankfully, it did, and it was awesome. But, as I say, though, Isabella immediately just hooking Melina and throwing her through that table with such force. I don't know about Melina, of course. She had to battle in somewhere in the Asylum, because in that tag team women's match, she got her ass kicked last Saturday. So I don't think she was 100% last night at all, but such a brutal finish from the tag team champions. They are unstoppable right now.
I'm just wondering which team is going to take Alexandra and Isabella down. Are they going to break down themselves? Do you know, because obviously Isabella is on a tear on her solos. So it's just, like, I felt so bad for Melina and Arcana last night. I do believe they should have got that win.
Oh, 100%. I really felt like they should have, but anything can happen in ACW. You never know. But of course, up next, ladies and gentlemen, it was Henderson taking on Mason Payne. That's not the right name. Marcus Payne. I swear one of these days I'm going to get it right. Go on, Willow, what were your thoughts on the match?
This match, I think, was a bit of a retribution kind of style match. It was, Henderson has been, I don't know what's gone into him the past few weeks, but he's been so aggressive, so not really caring about anything or anyone around him, only himself. So having Payne come out and be so dominant over him last night, it was a bit of a feel-good moment going, you're not as untouchable, Henderson, as you thought you were.
Oh, definitely. Like, as you said, Henderson's on this kind of weird mental trip the last couple of weeks. He's just not been himself. And of course, he felt like he was unstoppable when he was the inmate champion. That definitely had an effect on Henderson, of course, at Summer in the Asylum. And you could see it last night. He came out like a bull, with just one thing in mind. Beat the hell out of Marcus Payne again. But of course, that was not the way last night. Payne, very, very different superstar last night. He had one thing in mind as well, and that was destroy everyone and really show what he can actually do, and that he does deserve that championship. And I think it's exactly what he did last night.
That's exactly what he showed last night, that he is championship material. That match, that performance from him last night was, there's no real words for it. I just thought it was, damn, that's what we're looking for.
Yes. Of course, guys, up next, it was an 8-woman battle royale to determine the number one contender for the women's inmate championship at Hellbound. Of course, in this match, we had Melina, Alora, Tia, Cassie, Chica, Christina Barrett, Sloane, and Layla. Willow, thoughts on the match?
It's hard not to love a wee mini battle royale. I absolutely love them. There's so much going on in the ring that sometimes it is hard to catch every little thing.
Oh, trust me, it is.
Like, hands down to you for being able to call these matches, especially solo. Because there's like 8 people in that ring. Everyone's going after everyone. There's people fighting in one corner and in another. It's this match last night. I just didn't want it to end, to be honest.
I thought it wasn't going to end, to be honest. I really didn't think it was going to end. There was just so many elimination attempts, so many great superstars in there. Normally in these kind of situations, sometimes you can have a fast one where people just get eliminated left, right, and centre. That wasn't the case last night. All these women knew exactly what was at stake, and they all battled their hearts out. I was so proud of every single one. But of course, it was the Queen of Extreme, Sloane, coming out on top in that one. So very proud of Sloane. Of course, guys, she will go on to face Alexandra for the Women's Inmate Championship at Hellbound. And up next, ladies and gentlemen, the main event of the evening, D-Generation X taking on Team Extreme in a rematch. Of course, you guys might remember a couple weeks ago, DX and Team Extreme went toe-to-toe to start the show. Of course, that was insane. And of course, DX took the win that night. Last night, of course, Team Extreme taking the win. But Willow, what are your thoughts on the match? I wasn't too happy with this one. How about you?
I wasn't too happy with the outcome. Like, DX were all over Team Extreme from the get-go. And for DX to lose that match, to me, it was a little bit of BS. I was like, you just really had no right to lose.
Yeah.
It was like the performance that they had, their tags in and out was absolutely phenomenal. They had Team Extreme basically lying on the mat most of the match.
Well, until Malik finally turned things around. But he's very... I want to talk about him in a minute. But go on ahead.
But I just don't believe Team Extreme deserved that win last night.
No, Definitely, I don't think Team Extreme did deserve the win. Like, as I say, they did do really well. Malik was phenomenal last night. The new, of course, the current hardcore champion. He really showed why he's champion last night. He was absolutely phenomenal. But as you say, DX were all over Team Extreme for most of the night. It just seems like they made a couple of mistakes along the way. Kind of maybe took them for granted. They knew they could beat them. And then it's just kind of like Team Extreme were just like, oh, you think you're going to beat us? Now, with the Team Extreme, of course, proved they are some of the best in tag team wrestling in ACW today. But, of course, getting that win was absolutely fantastic. Congratulations, of course, to Team Extreme. But hopefully, DX will kind of realize, don't take everyone for granted. Take every match as it is. Stay dominant. Stay on top. Don't make those mistakes. But now, of course, that leads us to the end of the match. Of course, where Chaos returned to the ring. And, of course, just a bit of a standoff. A bit of a mixing the standoff last night between DX and Chaos. Well, how did that make you feel?
That sent chills down my spine. Just seeing the two of them stand up at the top of the rampway was just eerie. It was just like, oh, I wouldn't want to face these two.
Of course, it seemed like DX was trying to invite them to the ring last night, saying, come on, you want to do this? Let's do this now. And, of course, it looks like Chaos may potentially be looking to step up for those tag team championships at the pay-per-view. Who knows, though, of course, the Usos as well, they are due a rematch for their championships. What do you think could happen at Hellbound, Willow?
I'm not sure, but all I definitely do know is DX has a massive target on their back.
Oh,
Chaos
100%.
And the Usos, I wouldn't want to be you guys.
So I want to put this out there. If there was, for example, a triple threat tag team match, not saying there will be, guys, but if there was, who do you think would come out on top?
For me, I'm going to say Chaos.
You think Chaos come out on top?
I'm going to say Chaos, yeah.
For me, I think DX would use the chaos of the match to, ironically, to actually retain the championships. I don't know. Of course, it would be a brutal match. Of course, the Usos are phenomenal. Chaos are really rising through those ranks now compared to their terrible start. But they're now phenomenal. I think, yes, they could probably take it if the circumstance or the stipulation was in their favor. But, like, for example, some of the different stipulations you could do. You could do Hell in a Cell. You could do a ladder match. Of course, I think that would favor the Usos. I think the Hell in a Cell would definitely favor Chaos. But what would favor DX? I don't know. Maybe Falls Count Anywhere. Who knows what the stipulation could be coming towards Hellbound? Of course, it is a stipulation pay-per-view. So keep an eye on that one, guys. What will happen with those three teams? Of course, will it be a triple threat match? I don't know. Will Chaos go after the titles? I don't know. Will the Usos get a match before the pay-per-view? Who knows, guys? Do not miss a single episode of ACW live every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. GMT on the PsychoticKill channel. Willow, when do you stream on Twitch?
I stream Wednesdays and Sundays.
That's right, guys. Of course, make sure you check out the wonderful WillowWolf. Get your Apex Legends fix right here. And of course, Joan, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Inside ACW. Willow, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
And of course, guys, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, of course, for more Inside ACW news and reactions to every single show. Again, guys, we'll be back with more on Friday. As always, mates, stay crazy.
Stay psychotic.
Oh, hell yeah.